Yo, what is going on, guys? MOP, Bashman Pad C4IQ here with another Situational Damage podcast. Today's one's going to be about the FGC and the outlets. So going over sort of ways that people get their content out, whether it be through forums, speaking to other people in person at tournaments, events, YouTube, Twitch, streaming, all that sort of stuff. Today I've got, let's say, 3.5 people on the round table, as it were. We'll start with someone who's been on it before. Jammerz, want to introduce yourself again?
What's up, guys? I'm back for more, interesting FGC topics with your boy Mash on Pad C4IQ. I'd thank him for bringing me back onto the podcast, but yeah, I'm back.
My pleasure. Next, we've got Nhaztaljik.
Yep, that's true. My name's Nhaztaljik. I am basically here just because I'm from the cross Tekken scene. I've been playing since the middle of 2013. The game just really special to me, introduced me to competitive fighters for the first time. So that makes me really new. I've since began, though, to study fighting game mechanics, traditions, lore, history, all that stuff, without a doubt. All those secrets to compete. They seem elusive and complex, but I think I've done a good job figuring them out. So I'm here.
Yeah, that's Nhaztaljik. He's one of the, he's one of the cross Tekken gods for keeping that game alive. Definitely one of the gods.
And I'm just an ambassador, yeah?
You're a face. Your personality.
Wow.
You're 2012.
Wow.
I'm just kidding.
Man said you're pre-patched.
I'm vanilla, okay.
Unupdated.
And that was Nhaztaljik. And obviously you heard in the background, we've got the twins, the Denton brothers, Mark and Rich.
Yo.
Sound like the same person with an echo.
Oh wow. We're gonna have to do like, no. Can you speak, Richard? Hi, and I'll be like, hi.
Can we get a London and a
Cockney?
English? Yeah, there you go.
London and Cockney. I'll do Cockney, all right, mate. I might do London.
Yeah, blood. Yeah, like what you saying though? Yeah, like from London. Yeah.
There we go. See, now we can distinguish you over the.
I don't even speak like that either. It's gonna slip, man. They're both gonna slip because neither of us are Cockney and neither of us are London. So we're just. Anyway, yeah, we're part from Unequaled Media, 2 parts of a very big team. So we're probably the most visual members that people see. Glad to be here. Glad to give our opinion. So let's get this show rocking.
Let's go. You won't hear much of me because these guests have plenty to say, I'm sure. So basically, this topic was about the FGC and outlets. Obviously, back in the day, if you wanted to see a combo, you'd have to ask someone who knew the combo. It would probably go around like a myth, like the Loch Ness Monster or something. You go to an arcade and you might see someone do it in match. If you wanted them to show you it, you'd probably have to pay credits so they can beat you up and attempt to show you the combo. Obviously, we're not in them dark days anymore. Shouts to training mode, which is always cool. But all these people on the podcast today have some way or form kind of given to the FGC through an outlet. We'll start with Nhaztaljik. How did you sort of come about sort of like streaming or going on forums or uploading YouTube? What made you want to do that in the first place?
I mean, because I love to share information, I love to see people benefit from shared knowledge and perspective. It's really the only thing that's ever had any impact on the ascent of humanity into a better universe. I feel like the FGC, especially, at least my niche community, really didn't have a lot going on, it seemed like. So why not contribute? A lot of people are hungry for all kinds of information all the time. And I felt like my training mode led to a lot of findings, and hey, I just want to do my part and contribute.
Yeah, cool. I mean, it is a lot different to other fighting games because of the state of cross Tekken. I'd say it's a lot more of a tight-knitted community where tech is literally given out instantly. No one really hides tech. Everyone's really enthusiastic about showing off what they're fans.
Yep.
Instead of keeping it to themselves or using it on people, then giggling when they don't know how to block it and all that sort of stuff. It's a very helpful community. Mainly because it's based online, unfortunately.
Yeah, Street Fighter Cross Tekken brought a small few of us, from the FGC together for one reason, and that reason is because we love this game. We want to be amazing at it. It's our only commonality. It's proven because the more and more we test and challenge the community, the more apparent it becomes that we want to be competitive and we want to see this game grow. And I don't feel like some of us are always, training to beat that handful of players or go out and win tournaments because of that state of the game, but we still want to get better. We still want to find information and content all the time. So
yeah, we'll move on to Jammerz. Besides obviously getting that max CPM and that YouTube money,
you act like that's a lot.
brother, you show me. I've seen the print screen. I see how much you so I know what funds your anime obsession, bro. I've seen it. I've seen it. So yeah, besides the money, why do you feel you need to upload poison? I won't even call it tech crap. Why do you upload poison crap?
Wow. Okay. If we're
You love me tenders, bro.
Crap.
No one wants to see that.
Nah, it's basically the first thought that comes to mind is, wow, I've never seen it before. How did this get past Capcom or the developers? And I want to know if other people have seen it, sort of thing. Anything that just looks bizarre, I just want to upload it straight to YouTube. Not obviously because of the views, it's just to get it out there and let people be aware, not just Poison players, but then the community in general. Because when you see a lot of tournaments like, take place and characters or players are doing, unknown things to other players, it's just like, well, if somebody just probably uploaded this to the internet, because it's a huge place now, so you can easily access it, if everybody knew, then someone would find a way to deal with it. It's just up to the player, could they deal with it or not? They'll just know how to punish it accordingly, sort of thing. So that's pretty much where most of my fighting game tech videos starts out, just thinking, just let people see it, sort of thing. I don't want to get away with silly things, which I do most of the time. So
oh, so true. That hurts so much.
yeah, but
I think it's a good thing, because when people do get hit by it, you can just say, "Oh, you clearly don't subscribe to my YouTube channel," because then you wouldn't have got hit by it. I've shown you all my tech, and it's still working. That's your fault. So,
this is it. So
yeah,
it's basically people in the FGC, unless because I'm not playing for money, right? So I'll just gladly just put up everything that I have to offer on the internet. If I was playing for money, I'd hide a lot more things. But it's just you just gotta let people know, let them deal with it themselves, and see if they can kind of use that as an incentive to go out and either develop the tech I've just shown, or find out their own tech with the character or a different character. It's getting away with murder in fighting games, basically.
pretty much. That's fair enough. I would probably do the same thing. I'd rather something work because I used it at the right time,
Exactly.
rather than it worked because they've never seen it before and they don't know what to do. I'd rather them know and then have to adjust. That's a very good point. But yeah, that's Jammer's answer. Let's go into the twins, Mark and Rich. What's your point? What's your idea of why you got into sort of streaming? I know obviously you contributed to the FGC before that, but what led you to start streaming tournaments and stuff?
It was we're long-standing tournament organisers, a lot of events under our belt, and it was we found over the years that less people could attend certain events, but they still want to see it. So sitting there and trying to record a tournament via capturing straight from the games console and having a camera pointed at the action, and then having to go into post-production with a member of our team to create match videos was hell, wasn't it? So live streaming really hit when the internet obviously speeds got better. We just knew it was something that we had to fall into, because it was becoming very common in the States, everywhere really. Events can be live streamed. So we looked at it from a perspective that we want to do this stuff like a television broadcast rather than it's a live stream. That's how we are where we are now. We're not saying that we do it, possibly any better than anybody else. We have got this vision to do. Every time we push go on a stream, this is a TV broadcast. And platforms like Twitch allow people to broadcast to any capacity you feel. So why not aim for the best? So that's where our standpoint on streaming is. Making the UK, giving the UK a nice representation. If people catch it, that's great. But we'll do it for our own and see who's tuning in. So that's pretty much about it, really.
Yeah, no, it was interesting that you said you do it more like a production rather than, I think a lot of streams, they kind of just hit record and then they kind of give you the feel like, oh, you can't make it, but here's the eyes and ears. So, and they just leave it raw like that. But where what you're doing is kind of doing it as an actual like program. I think that's pretty cool compared to other streams that I've seen.
I mean, not taken away. There are streams. Stream now. The word stream is almost as commonplace as the word tournament or the word competitive. Which now I think, yes, when a subject gets oversaturated. For instance, streaming when it first started was a very expensive and quite a technical sort of flaw to overcome. So only the few could only do it. Like if anything with like technology and so on and so forth, it got easier and easier and easier. But the more it got easier, the more people started to do it. And I think for a while, the lines got blurred between what a good stream. Oh, I'm not saying what a good and a bad stream is, but like I speak to a lot of people that do organizing or a lot of things. The first thing they say is, gotta have a stream. It's like, no, you don't. First things first, you need to create a place which people want to come to or create a product that people like. And it doesn't have to be a tournament. It's like straight away, when people talk about an event, it's got to be a tournament. It's like, no. Tournament comes naturally from competitiveness, from playing. Because obviously, this game will have 2 players and one will be victorious. So it's competitive naturally from the off. So I find a lot of people now that they say that they want to stream before they've got a good event, before they've got good equipment, before they've got good anything. And I think sometimes that people need to kind of step back and ourselves, when we do a stream, I don't even call it a stream. I call it a broadcast or a presentation. And that's where you've probably seen that our stuff is always, we are so anal on sound quality, on bit rate, on everything from the smallest graphics to the camera shots to lighting. And I think that's why it kind of puts us in a different league to the everyday streamer. But hopefully other streamers will look at us and go, okay, I want to do something like that. So streaming's it's just very big. It's like everyone's doing it now. So hey,
event standards are high, Mace. You must know this.
Well, no, it's good to have a high standards, but people just want to kind of get their, 5 minutes of fame and be like, look, watch me play XYZ on Xbox Live for these battle points, and then I mean, I think there's obviously what the Twins are doing, what Unequaled are doing, like doing a broadcast of an event, and then you get the kind of, I'm not gonna say like a common streamer, but someone who is known in the FGC and people just like seeing them play. So their production value is in their matches, if you know what I mean. So they won't have sick overlays or like really good audio. They'll be shouting across the room to their laptop so that like they can hear the audio. But people are tuning in literally to see them play the game, and that's it. They don't really care about anything else. But yeah, I think with tournament it's a lot different because that's not the be all and end all. You might get one match out of 10 that's half decent or interesting to watch, but you won't know that because you're just running the tournament. You're seeing what happens. So
I do find the streaming as well. It's in the eye of the beholder. So I might necessarily think is a good watch or good content. Someone out there is going to think it's terrible, and vice versa. And I mean, that's when you get this incredible spectrum of from amateur to professional to good to bad. I mean, I will never say that's a good stream or that's a bad stream because it's my opinion. Well, but I think the general consensus will say that was a good watch or that wasn't a good watch. So streaming is a really interesting. I blame reality television because now and the Spice Girls. I'm just going to be me.
And the Spice Girls.
Yeah,
Wow. Are we going back to 1990 something?
Because before then, right? We're 36. So I've come from a generation where like music, where the performers went to acting school or they went to singing classes, and they were very polished when they were released in the public eye until like the noughties or the 90s, where it just became reality. Where look, I'm just going to be me. If I can terrible, I can sound terrible, but I'm just going to be me in a public eye. And I always relate it back to reality television and the Spice Girls were the first kind of two things I noticed. Well, when you first go, these girls ain't very good compared to like other acts. But that phenomenon, I think, opened a window where just being yourself became such an interesting subject matter that you could put loads of people in a house loads of different random people, put a camera on and watch them bicker and fight, and it becomes the most compelling thing in the world. Forget top production values, forget acting skills. It's just, I think that's kind of now where, in a sense, streaming is a reality show, isn't it? You just put a camera on yourself and just be you, and you will get an audience. So that might be a bit of a funny way of looking at it, but that's how my mind works anyway. But anyway, back on topic.
Yeah, you just blow my mind. Hold on, I need to regather my thoughts. That was crazy. It was so deep, and then he said the Spice Girls, and it got even deeper, and I was like, "What? Where is he going with this?"
Now the Spice Girls thing is really deep. Think about it afterwards. Just go back up, listen to what I said. On Vogue versus Spice Girls. Think about it.
Respect that though.
Who?
Yeah.
I said you got to respect how you guys said it, the analogy.
Yeah. I've got to respect the Spice Girls now. But so yeah, back on topic. We'll start with Nhaztaljik. What impact do you think sort of outlets for the FGC have changed things? So I know obviously with cross-teching, what was it, the IRC, that basically the group of kind of known cross-teching heads that kind of share tech, and not just tech, just anything that can grow cross-teching as a scene altogether. What kind of difference do you think that makes with regards to like growing the FGC?
Well, the IRC is like anything else, like Twitch, YouTube, the forums, is just going to be a medium of communication. That's all it is. And since we're on the topic of Twitch, I mean, Twitch as a medium is a bit different in terms of how it's changed the FGC. It's enabled gamers from both inside and especially outside the FGC to see just how prestigious and widespread the community is, as well as how much pride and how serious we are as a competitive community. When you have a platform that can display those things, it can be like a powerful motivator, because people come to watch and they get inspired. As far as it being used to benefit players from a knowledge sharing point of view, whether for beginners or advanced players, it is being done and players are using it that way. It's just it has arguably very little impact right now for one reason or another, whether that be that player sharing knowledge just isn't a popular internet figure, not someone you'd find on Google if you search for advanced fighting game tactics, or whether the lack of impact be for another reason, such as the content's too niche, or it doesn't apply to anything but their specific FGC sub-community or their game. It's hard to find. That's what I think about Twitch. Like, the perspective, and you have to forgive me because I'm new to all the voices of this room, but I'm assuming it was like, was it Richard that was just speaking?
That was Mark.
That was Mark.
Mark. Okay. Yes. Like that perspective, I was like, oh, mind blown. Like, like that's true. That's true. Like, man, that line between, who's doing it basically the right way, or, like the craftsmanship. It's like, who's doing it with actual craftsmanship, who's just doing it just because. And what I'm thinking in that way is, yes, being yourself is great, and that's inspired, and that's people, you're striving for that is great. But what happens in the end when that's all anyone has ever done? All anyone has ever done has hopped on Twitch, hit record, been themselves, gave no, I'm not going to say bad words, but they didn't really care, and that's all that is out there. Everything is going to be so hard to find. It's going to be so hard to find the diamonds in the rough. It's going to be so hard to find all that content. Forums, they do a decent job of organizing topics into one place. However, like a lot of the mission critical information gets lost in discussion. Sometimes when readers go back to look for answers to their questions, the message can get like misconstrued or difficult to conclude entirely. YouTube is the tried and true method of player sharing knowledge. Yes, data is scattered all over YouTube. It can be hard to find what you're looking for every time. But it's search friendly. It's the lowest hanging fruit for players to find what they're looking for. And when you know who to follow, it can be great. HD Jammerz. If you like with that poison example, something like that. And there are plenty of non-fighting game players across all these mediums, but it's not like a random YouTuber will often just stumble upon FGC content and get interested, or they're not going to say, oh, I want to go out and play Street Fighter now because I just stumbled upon this video, because very likely they're going to stumble upon a video in the first place. A Twitch viewer will just pop in, isn't very likely to just pop in on a fighting game stream if they're interested in other things. and on top of that, be able to follow what's going on. So it's not likely he'll get interested. No one's joining a forum unless they have genuine interest in the FGC from the beginning anyway. And it becomes apparent that these communication mediums aren't always going to have a giant impact in terms of saturating the fighting game community. In my opinion, the games themselves are what have the impact on people, the human interaction, just like anything else. People have to talk about it. People have to be inspired in order to inspire others. And once others become interested, it's just like a matter of time before content gets found. That's the organic way. So like maybe the next thing to impact the community is going to be some form of organizing all the scattered data that's out there, which is why I've been working on some things on the side to possibly help move that process along. I won't get too much into that because it's like my baby project, but this community could really benefit from having something centralized, factual knowledge rather than like scattered subjective knowledge. And people have made efforts for all this stuff in the past, such as like event hubs and their frame data organization, but there's still work to do, make it more friendly for us users, players, information seekers. So
Yeah, you brought up so many good points. I don't even know which one to start with, but yeah, that was mad. One of the things I was going to say, not to go off topic too much, is when you were saying about sort of the production, and obviously Mark touched upon it and I touched upon it, and the only person I could think of was Punko, because I literally think, people tuning into Punko to watch and take off his top.
Yeah.
Is that
but Punko is insane.
Punko is insane. Punko is not playing Seth anymore though.
I'll tell you what though, like when he was playing Seth, I mean, I don't really know all he's doing right now because unfortunately I'm not one of those players that, or I'm not one of those stream monsters that goes on Twitch all the time. But his game plan was just so strong.
Sorry,
It's incredibly strong.
Sorry, but in there, but we were just at the France Clansman the Clash. Punko won with Seth.
Played throughout with Seth.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he did.
Brush up on your knowledge, rude boy.
Bruv,
He
it's
made the whole
4-4, man. I'm sorry. Forgive me.
He just rinsed everybody.
And top off. And then he got top off and it's saying about it. Did.
Made me question existence.
Wait. Literally, I swear, I saw streams with Punko on it, and he was not playing Seth. He was playing like Ken, Yun. I'm sure.
Maybe
until
the players
France.
didn't deserve the Seth.
No, when he streams at home, he uses anybody because, like, he's the difference between knowing your character and knowing the game. Punko knows the game.
Right. So, do you think he's kind of right? If I was gonna watch Punko, I would only watch him to play Seth, and I've stumbled across his stream, and yep, his top was off, and then he had this whole Punko's angry thing overlay over his thing. Everything was going red, but he wasn't playing Seth, so I felt a bit robbed. So I didn't watch the rest of it. So I was like, well, if you're not playing Seth, then I'm not really interested. Do you think when you're not kind of streaming to put on a production and you're just streaming because people want to see you, when you're not doing what you're known for doing, do you think you're robbing the viewers?
I don't think it's that. No. I don't think it's that. Why is he showing the whole world his Seth tech every day? So when he goes to a tournament, he's been downloaded 3 weeks ago. Think about it. Top players are not going to give away what they're doing. Because
why would he stream in the first place then?
The entertainment value.
Yeah, it's entertaining.
Or a lot of streamers now, I'm not sure if he's partnered, but revenue.
Right.
I've heard some of that. I mean, I've heard this. It could be wrong. I've heard sometimes when Justin Wong, I could be wrong here, streams, he makes $6,000 a stream. I've heard that from some source. I don't know if it's true or not. Now, if you've got partnership and you've got an incredible, massive user base, all you've got to do is just take your top off and do some Seth nonsense
and then say donate.
Why not?
And we've seen, on their tickers and their scrollers, $100 donated, $50 donated. I don't know what they're doing, but I need some of that.
Shout out to Maximilian. I've seen mad donations give to Maximilian. Mad.
With those go on, Nhaztaljik.
No, I was just gonna say that players have a choice here, like as to what they want to do with their streams and their outlets. Seth can, or I'm sorry, I call Punko Seth because that's how I know him. but he could easily go on, his stream and play matches with his Seth and explain everything. But people can go back through several archives of videos and VODs and look at what he chooses to do. you know, I can, just by watching a few of his games, I can say, oh, you know, this is what he normally does. This is one of the 3 or 4 options that he has when he gets this, we scores this knockdown, you know, whatever. And he just, you know, mixes it up based on, you know, what's going on in the game. And you could develop your own perception of that. He could easily go on stream and start explaining that, but you know what? There's a barrier there. Like if he was speaking English, you know, and all kinds of, you know, people from the United States would come in and start listening to that. But, you know, maybe in his culture, it's not a big deal what he's doing. You know, the players that he surrounds himself with, maybe it's not a big deal. Maybe it is. Maybe he just wants to keep it, you know, to himself, whatever. Or, you know, indeed, like Jammerz was saying, when he's at home, he can do what he wants. He can choose to, you know, show his encyclopedic knowledge of the game. He can just, you know, sit here and talk about strategy for different characters. Players would find that valuable. Does he do that? I don't know. But the whole point is that he has a choice to do what he wants with it. And that's, you know, that's kind of what determines the impact as to what it has on the FGC.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. We'll go to Jammerz then. What do you think the impact has been over, well, since you've been in there? Because I know you don't obviously just upload FGC content. Obviously, shout out to Kingdom Hearts 2. You do that as well. 2.5. Kind of, what do you think, even outside of the FGC, what do you think uploading that sort of content does? Because I've seen you upload trials as well. And obviously, everyone's got access to trials, but people still view your trials. What do you think they're kind of gaining from you, seeing you do it? Because I know people like Vesper Arcade, they do that all the time. Whenever a game comes out, they'll upload them doing the trials with their hands and all that sort of stuff, so you can see the inputs and how you do it. Is that what you're trying to aim for, like kind of help other people get through the trials and learn basics and stuff?
That's a yes and no sort of thing. We'll use the trials as an example. You know, when a game comes out with a challenge mode and it comes out with missions or certain combos you want to do, you're obviously going to attempt it yourself before you go on the internet. A lot of people would go on the internet first because they're just like, I want to just get this done straight away. But then I'd say the hardcore players, they want to try it themselves. And if they're doing it wrong or mistiming something, then they'll go on the internet and they'll type in, let's say, Poison's trials on Ultra Street Fighter 4, and then it will just come up with a bunch of different videos. And what they're looking for precisely would be the timing, or am I doing it wrong, or do I have to set it up a certain way sort of thing. And it's just to have it there as an archive, you know? So when you want to look for something on the internet, it's like, oh, okay, today I want to look up, you know, how to beat so-and-so at like Guilty Gear. You know, you go on the internet, type it in, and it's there. I just want it to be part of that whole cloud storage that people can just access it straight away. I don't really, at first I looked at it for the views and the whole, oh yeah, let's earn money off YouTube sort of thing. But then over time, it's more, you know, the more content you can get out there, the more it's in a safe place. You upload it and you know it's there for everyone to see. Even if it doesn't get a lot of views, it's now on a place where, you know, potentially 1 billion people can see it, sort of thing. So,
yeah, no, that's fair enough. I think that's a lot of the content I used to upload, especially with Cross Tekken, because it's such a niche community. I think at first I just wanted to push it upon people, like, check this game out, it's better than Street Fighter 4, trust me, watch this. And then it got to the point where it was kind of just, I appreciate just that Cross Tekken people. If other people want to look at it and like jump on the Cross Tekken bandwagon, then that's cool with me. But I think it comes to a point where you're just there to please the people that have kind of showed you loyalty by watching in the past.
Yeah, sort of thing. It's like, because when people start doing YouTube, I'm not sure if this is the same for you, Nhaztaljik or the twins. It's like when you start, you want to, you know, you're self-promoting yourself. You're your own brand and you want to get yourself out there. And then, you know, when you get more subscribers, more viewers coming in, it's not so much that they tune in for the content, they tune in for who you are, sort of thing. So that it's like they'll come to see the content first and then they'll stick around because, you know, this guy's enjoyable, or he's going to upload something that I'll probably find interesting, or this guy is just generally funny. So it's like the reason I done the Kingdom Hearts videos was because a selected few people just found me funny and wanted to watch me play Kingdom Hearts. With Street Fighter, you know, I just wanted to contribute to the Poison community because in Cross Tekken, I was that best Poison player.
Wow.
That's what they said.
You're not gassed up at all, but yeah, cool.
Remember, Mace, that's what they all said. I didn't say that. And then the Street Fighter 4, I was part of, you know, the Poison community because I knew I wasn't going to be the best one because that was the game. I'm a cub jumping into a lion's den when it's Street Fighter 4. So I'd be just partially just throwing in information from my perspective, since I've used poison a lot more than other people have, as as poison's been a character playable in Street Fighter games in general. So there's different perspectives, way to look at it. So
yeah, no, that's fair enough. So I want to the twins. Sorry, look at the brothers for some reason. The twins. Obviously, you have been in the FGC for a long time. I'm gonna say that you've seen the evolution of media outlets and sort of the change from word of mouth to YouTube. What kind of impact did you think it made? Do you think it made like the FGC lazy in a way, because obviously they don't have to do much now that everyone can sit at home, go in training mode, where before people had to, be proactive, socialize, all that sort of stuff? Do you think online's kind of stopped that, or?
It's double-edged sword, isn't it? End of the day, some people, and I'm one of those people, I'm generally good at fighting games. No Ryan Hart, Papa Mex, none of those people. And I think we're all probably in the same bracket here. Sometimes you just can't see it, but it's in there. So with all these, trials on YouTube, before the games come out, in the trailer, they've showed the best combo, which is not from our era. So it opens up like, wow, how deep the game's combo engine probably is. But again, it's all about down to you as a player, because some people just see it. Desk is a good example, bringing up Desk. And he must see games as the Matrix, because he just sees stuff. And we've had him at our flat. Funny, Cross Tekken being something that is all common to you. It's actually common to me and brother as well. I'm going to go slightly off topic, but on my personal YouTube account, which I don't use, there's a video of me playing Cross Tekken at like an early preview, because we worked with the game with Dogtanian quite heavily before it came out. I'm not sure people actually knew that. And there's a video of me playing Haorong and Kazuya, which I just instantly moved to on that game. It's had 21,000 views playing my friend, and it's just cammed off a phone, which was crazy. And also, before the game came out, this is really off base, I'll make it real quick. Dogtanian wanted to introduce Cross Tekken to the masses. That was his job. That's the reason why he got employed. Now, at the time, Capcom were a bit funny about inviting literally tens to hundreds of players to the Capcom office, because it'd be after hours, the access is difficult and whatnot. He needed a place that he wanted to introduce Cross Tekken to players. He chose our flat. So 3.5 months before Cross Tekken came out, we had it in our flat, and every night we had 5 to 8 different community members. So we had Tekken players come over, the top London Street Fighter players come over. We had literally 90 people come to our flat and play Cross Tekken for the first time. And then Desk did a whole bunch of videos as the game came out. Do you remember those?
Yep.
Yeah.
He recorded them at our flat, and we sat there and watched him bang out the same.
Wow.
I think Dogtanian mentioned that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the one who got the 99 hit, and then
And like things like when Mark explained it with Murdoch.
If you he worked out I'm gonna call it tornado grab, or that Murdoch's
The gator grab.
Yeah. If he worked out, if you do the grab and then you tag in, and there's one frame in there where you can hit them as they're getting grabbed.
Yeah.
I saw him do that, and he sat there and he went, it's like, as you see, like the Matrix, he did something, he went, hold on, goes, and he stopped and he did it again. He went, I thought so. And then, but don't get it twisted. Desk is like everyone else. I've seen him sit here and get frustrated, talking to himself, trying to do a combo 20 times before he gets it. And it's like, that's a real interesting thing to look at, because you just assume, he puts his hand on the joystick and he comes out with this. No way. But he found so many things.
He's mortal like us.
Yeah, he discovered I might get this wrong. He worked out you could jump cancel into Pandora with Chun-Li and a boot. No, Ibuki wasn't out, it was Chun-Li. You could jump cancel.
Or Bob or something? Bob can do it.
Jish said that to us, Mace.
But,
remember when he went with Ibuki?
Oh, yes.
I'm going to wrong. He did it with Chun-Li. He worked out you could jump cancel into Pandora, but Pandora pushed you back. When your other character came and they stood behind, he worked out to do it. If you put your opponent in the corner, when you Pandora jump cancel, it puts your character in the right place to continue the combo. and you can find these things in the game where you would never. Well, I just think it's a way of looking at the system of the game that not everyone can do. So perhaps the YouTube generation is good. Like when we were younger, the way you'd find out combos or find out things was literally. So I think what's happened now with games is back when we were playing fighting games from like 13 or 14, where no one knew about option selects or even basic cancelling, tech, all that nonsense. I remember learning through Dragon Punch, learning how to do Fireball. And I remember before anyone knew about cancelling medium kick into Fireball. I've seen it from before that. Where people used to spam out and do circles on the joysticks or press directions and smack buttons and don't know what they're doing. To actually figuring out timing and frames and so. But anyway, what's I going to say? I do this, I lose my track of thought. It's really interesting, right? The way we used to find out things was you'd go and put 2 credits in the machine and you'd hog the machine. So you'd pick a character, you'd pick the same character on both sides, and then you would do your combo. So you'd beat up player 2, trying to do your combos, try and do something, until they got like 10% health. Then you go player 2 and beat them up and kill player 1. Then the next round, you do vice versa to get a second round, and then you'd get another round. And if you felt like Johnny Allen, you'd put another credit. No. You try and get a 4th round. You try and get a game. You try to get a game on the 3rd round. Yeah,
hustling the arcade cabinets.
Tactics.
I'm gonna get my combo off this pound, and that is how you learn. And it was, and sometimes you would have no success. You'd waste credit after credit after credit after credit after credit. And like now, everyone is blessed with training modes and YouTube, and that's it. Back then, the games had an exploration factor to them. You found out yourself, you experimented, and people would play differently or find out different tactics and different combos. So there's a lot of, there was so much, I don't know if it's more in the games, if it's less in the games now, but you found it all for yourself. And some people keep that tech to themselves, or they keep those combos and only show them to certain people. And some people would know something you wouldn't know. So there's a lot of exploration in the game. I discover now is that when the game comes out, they tell you every mode, they give you trials. I think it's not a case of exploration, it's about success. They say this is what's in the game. Here it is, and can you do it? And that's so different from like when we were growing up, where you didn't know what was in the game. And I feel sometimes that as soon as the game comes out, they give you trials and they give you walkthroughs, and it's like you've kind of seen all the game straight away. You've seen too much of the game. The exploration factor's been taken away from you. But if we're 36, 37, that's where we came from. But I know guys that got into Street Fighter 4, where the game showed you all the trials. I guess that is the standard for them. And it's like, well, guys, come on. Where's the exploration? But that's like a man talking to a youngster, isn't it? So
it's,
funny how
you know what? Like,
changed.
I feel the same way. Like, I've been playing Guilty Gear, and I've been playing Leo. If you're not subscribed to my channel, then you won't know that. But if you do, I've been playing Leo, and obviously you've got the whole trial mode. And what I was getting to before about making the FGC lazy is that there's obviously there's like 2 or 3 people that have kind of known for playing Leo. So everyone rushes to their uploads whenever they upload a new Leo combo or a new, reset or whatever. And it kind of makes everyone play like that player. So, for example, say Justin Wong done a combo video for Rufus, and he said this is the optimal Rufus combo. No one would go try to break that.
Or add
because
to it.
Yeah, they'll go, oh, this is, if you're not doing that, you're not doing max damage. It's like, oh, because it might be fact. It might be that Justin Wong has put in the time, and there is no other way to get any more damage than that. But I think a lot of people are too quick to go, oh, if he done it, he's known for playing that character, there's no point in me trying. I'm just going to learn this combo, and that's all I need to know. That's why I was saying, do you think it's made the FGC lazy in that respect? Because I've watched all these Leo combos, I've watched all the tweet feeds, everything, and I'm like, I know a more damaging combo than that. I can show you it, but I've just not got around to uploading it. I'm not trying to hide it or nothing, but I feel like, people are just accepting what they're seeing on YouTube or what they're hearing in forums or Twitter. It is kind of annoying, but I can see from what you've said now, I can see how it's beneficial. I used to just hate it. I used to hate that everyone kind of got spoon-fed what they should do, and then you just get an army of generic players playing a character the way they've been told to play them.
Yeah.
I think on that, sorry to butt in, on that notion, it's a case of I wouldn't call mates to players lazy. It just makes us all very generic, and you know, the games now have this wonderful term called damage scaling. So you don't want to do anything out of the ordinary because it's not optimal. Everything's about safety, optimization. It's not a procedure. It's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be a creative outlet, and it's not anymore. So nobody does what we used to call, right? Imagine that you would substitute a normal and a combo, which you don't usually do. It'll give you the same result. What the likes of myself, Mark, my brother, Ryan Hart, a guy called Bulletproof, and anyone knows who that is. A lot of us do know who that is. A guy called Rizza. We'd call those jelly beans, right? So I put in a crouching medium punch rather than the preferred standing medium kick. So it was like a rah jelly bean because he mixed up the combo. It will get the same result, but he's put his own spin on it. I find a lot of that's missing. Their creativity's gone. You know, you're spoon fed. As you said, Mace, you're spoon fed a way of doing it. People are not. No, I'm not. They're not.
They're not adventurous enough.
They're not willing to experiment with the combo to make it their own. You know, so you know there are terms. The Daigo special, isn't it? We all know the Daigo special, uppercut, FADC, ultra fireball. It's the Daigo special, you know, but it's not because he did it first, and he happens to be one of those prolific figureheads. It's the Daigo combo, and if you do it, it's like rah, it's a Daigo special.
Yeah,
that has become. Yeah, it's become a thing. If it's good or bad, me or no.
And just to conclude that, well, if you dare to go outside of the norm, you dare do something with Rufus that Justin doesn't, then you hear people saying, well, I don't agree with that. That's wrong.
Yeah. Why would you do that?
Why would you do that? So for instance, we got BTM Hurricane 237, right? And if you watch our stuff, right, Hurricane plays with DiCaprio. Now, his DiCaprio arguably is one of the best in Europe, if not best in the world. But he plays just really like unorthodox.
Yeah.
He doesn't. He Rago, as we call it. He just does things. He doesn't protect a lot of stuff. He does a lot of crazy things that lots of other people disagree with. And I ain't nothing about negative. It's like, well, hold on. He's got the balls to play how he wants. Mm-hmm. He doesn't copy what Knuckle Dude does or what K-Brad does or what Infiltration does. And people say, oh, his way of playing the game is rubbish. Jammerz, how many times does Claude win?
Listen, I'm telling you, he wins way too much. But no, it brings me back to the point where it's because Hurricane is very competitive. He's very fervent with Street Fighter 4, right? So he's not going to show a lot of things. And it's like Mark and Richard said, he has the the balls, the temerity to do something. Or because I faced him before and I couldn't get my game going because of how bizarre he was playing. It's just like, I'd go, why on earth would you do that? But then that's what makes him unique from everybody else. He's not, the generic, Rufus or DiCaprio player. He's like, I'm Claude, I'm using DiCaprio, and I'm playing Street Fighter 4. I don't give a crap about what anybody else thinks.
Yeah, a lot of people need to be like that. Nhaztaljik, I know you was itching to say something. Can you remember what he was going to say?
Maybe. I think I was trying to get to if you fail to explore the game on your own and you just follow what other people do because it works, most of the time you're doing it blindly, you're doing it without knowing why, which usually comes from not exploring the game on your own. You're just very likely to not be successful. There's passionate brewers, quote unquote, out there that love to do non-optimal stuff just to get a specific setup, specific safe jump, specific spacing for a gimmick. All those things are perfectly viable. If people are telling you that no, you shouldn't do this because it's not optimal, whatever, and the most likely they're just saying that because they don't know why you're doing it, because maybe you haven't shared that with somebody. And it shouldn't, I don't know, I think with all the new tools and things like that, and YouTube, from what I gathered, you guys are saying that all this stuff made a lot of people lazy. It made people follow, I think in my mind, it just made a lot of people follow and take kind of cop outs and not really explore I don't know, but then again, there is a huge amount of people that I know that are just like the type of person that I described, the people that like to brew up that non-optimal stuff just to get specific stuff or find new optimal things. And that's one of the things that like drew me into Cross Tekken, because I'm like, oh, you can combine two characters. Oh, that gives me like twice as many move sets, twice as all that stuff, and that makes the possibilities all that much more endless. So I don't know. I think there's players out there that maybe are aware of that. Maybe they know that, hey, if you're doing the same thing that so and so is doing in a tournament, hey, you're downloaded already. People have seen that setup on YouTube 100 times. People have seen that setup. It basically what I'm saying is not going to take you far, but you can go into training mode, find some non-optimal stuff, dare to be different, and then maybe you'll surprise somebody. Maybe there's something.
Maybe be the next Gandhi.
Yeah. I'm
that
just
guy.
saying. I think most people would agree with that. That's definitely what you want to be doing, and at the very least giving it a shot, giving it a test. It's not always going to be the strongest thing that you can do, but it may be if if let's say that everything else is fine with your gameplay, like let's say you actually do have wonderful fundamentals, and and you're trying to follow a generic game plan, but dare to do something a little bit stronger, just even if it is not as optimal. There's definitely possibilities out there, and people want to know stuff like that all the time. I don't think I'm always looking on YouTube for so and so's combos, because I already know all the combos. I already know, I think I know all the combos. I think I know all the basic setups. I'm looking for, like I've said before, those diamonds in the rough, those players that are trying to be different and do something else. And I think contributing more stuff of that is always wonderful. When you hear about players that are putting a lot of work into a character, you can often find things such as what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I think when it comes to like looking for content on YouTube, me personally, I hate calling my stuff guides. I'd rather call them exhibitions, where these are all the stuff I found with the character. I think this is max damage. If you can beat it, go for it. Like, this is where the bar is. I'm not saying you can't beat it. I'm just saying, like, here, this is the bar.
Yeah.
And when I look for stuff online, that's what I look at. I look at code. This is what people think is the max damage. Let me see if I can beat this. Or this leads to a setup. Let me see if I can find a better setup. I think a lot of people need to look at it more like that, instead of this is how you do an Akuma Vortex. If you're not doing a Vortex with an Akuma, you're not playing Akuma properly. And I think that's what's being drummed into people's heads a lot.
That's very apparent.
Some of it,
what you just said.
Yeah.
So, some of it is that the doing just a combo video and doing just that basic setup, it is the lowest hanging fruit for somebody to put a video on YouTube. That is the easiest way for them to get a video on YouTube, get a bunch of views, and increase their popularity, and then start putting out new content. I think that's I think there is some of that in there, definitely. In terms of people trying to put content out there on YouTube. So.
It's like what? Me and Cross Tekken is like the perfect example for what you guys have been saying. But it's like,
we are going to do now is, obviously, I've got to edit stuff around. So, and Nhaztaljik is a busy man. Probably making beats for Justin Timberlake or something. I don't know. But with Nhaztaljik, what I wanted to ask you was, what do you think is the next stepping stone for the FGC regards to outletting content? What do you think might need to be done, and what would you kind of like to see from the FGC when it regards to getting the content out to FGC people in the FGC and people outside of the FGC?
I think when you say that, it's so broad. I mean, it's obviously a massive collective effort. A small handful of people can do a lot of things. There's ways to organize some of the data that's out there and the findings. Because like I said, I think one of the problems is that things are hard to find. I think I mentioned that a little bit earlier. So yes, people can make things that, like application. Let's talk about technology. I'm not going to talk about technology and all that stuff, but without getting too much into that, the community could benefit from things like that. I think the FGC enabling members that are in the FGC, making some of the content more user friendly, that'll maybe inspire, maybe help the processes that we're already doing. Because I know how people now they come up with new tech, or they figure out what they want to do, they write it down in a notebook. Maybe who knows, but it's not shared, it's not always accessed. There could be something like that in place. In terms of Twitch and people streaming, hey, the more the merrier. Everything is great, but I mean, I think people need to make, obviously, choices that are beneficial to the community. Always keep that in mind. That it definitely doesn't benefit new players, to have it when you're streaming a tournament or something like that. It's not going to bring on new players. There's no benefit there when a new player comes in and says, what is this commentary that they're talking about? What is an option select? What is a safe jump? What is all this terminology I've never heard of? Because I know that was one of my challenges as a new player. I was like, I have no idea what's going on, so I'm gonna have to study and things like that. I think for newer players, it's just gonna come down to, are they interested in the game from some organic source, and from there all the content will just be naturally discovered. But that discovery right now, I think, is a challenge because of how scattered all that data is.
Yeah, it's good that you mentioned sort of like the commentary bit, because I spoke about that with Jammerz, and that's about getting the content out to obviously people that aren't familiar with the terminology or the slang of the FGC. So I'll aim this one at Jammerz. Do you think that might be something that would need to change, or maybe not change, improve, or like I said before, have two different, if possible, have two different streams? Someone commentating at a casual level.
Yes. It's just something to be mindful of. Like, I was going to commentate last month's SFXT PXG monthly, and I had this idea to do it alongside of Jonathan, who shout outs to him. He's done a great job of organizing the PXG online championships. He doesn't know much about Cross Tekken because he doesn't play the game, but he's been commentating by himself for the past couple weeks, and I went ahead and extended my hand out for help. I said, hey, look, it'd be a great dynamic if I hopped on, gave more of the informative commentary, and you went ahead and basically gave the viewer's perspective, like the new player, and asked the questions that basically provoked all the questions that maybe a new player would have. And it's kind of a why not thing, because it is just a weekly tournament. I'm sorry, I think I mentioned it was for the monthly before. I'm actually referring to the weekly. It was just a weekly tournament. It's something that is kind of on a casual level. Nobody needs to hear hardcore informative commentary. I think it's definitely a healthy thing in the right setting.
Yeah, no, that was the point I made on the last podcast. Especially when it comes to people that aren't familiar with any FGC. I think it's slightly different when it's sort of game to game. For like Jammerz, for example, I remember I got into Cross Tekken because I saw Jammerz at the Hog playing on his own, and I thought, this is Street Fighter 4. I can play this, whatever. He bodied me. I got the slap of reality, and then from there I just got heavily into Cross Tekken, where Jammerz showed me the key differences between that and Street Fighter 4, what you can do, the possibilities in the game. For Jammerz, do you think for people crossing games, or even for people that aren't into fighting games, what do you think is the best medium to try and get content out to them for? Like, obviously YouTube is like the biggest one, but how do you reckon you'd go about that if you were like sort of the Cross Tekken ambassador?
Well, the thing is, right, obviously I'm in university, so university has taught me, whenever you're trying to introduce a topic or like idea to someone, you have to teach them like they're a complete alien to it, like they don't know like left and right. So you have to actually start from the beginning and work your way from there. But the thing is, with teaching these sort of things, it's like you're gonna only teach them the way that you taught yourself or how you see things. So you're kind of teaching everyone the way a one-track mind sort of thing. But you know, with the whole like what the topic we were talking about earlier, saying like, you know, like commentating over games, and you know, a casual audience wouldn't really understand, and the hardcore players, well, it's more, I try to bring in both worlds together, but try to make it funny, because believe it or not, sometimes Mark and Richard, you might be listening, sometimes my mom actually watches the stream that you guys do.
Wow.
And it's like,
You've made it.
yeah, the thing is, right, because my mom doesn't give a rat's ass about what's going on the game, right? She doesn't understand the terminology we use or whatever, but she'll understand it when I throw in a joke, and she can somewhat see what's happening on the screen. Does it relate to that joke? And she'll start laughing. So I'm trying to bring in two audiences to one thing so they can all laugh at the same thing. But that's kind of difficult, because the hardcore guys, they'd be like, oh, we know this stuff already. Why are you repeating this stuff we learned 3 years ago? Whereas the casual audience, they'll be like, okay, I didn't know that, but I can sort of understand it now, or get some grips to it. So I'm stuck in limbo, or a lot of people who try to do this are stuck in limbo. But the whole explaining option selects and frame datas, you've got to just find the way that you kind of explained it to people, and you kind of got to relate it to something that probably is universal, that everyone knows, or something that's probably an inside joke. But like Mark and Richard say this to me most of the time, and other people do commentary for their Unequal media. It's like, not a lot of people would get the inside joke, so you might have to strictly talk about the game. But then if you do that, then it becomes a bit too boring. But you know, you can't please everybody, so
Yeah, I think that's the biggest problem with commentating.
Could I interject on this subject
Please do.
matter?
Please do.
Because myself and Richard speaking now, I became a commentator as such per se for our events, and I'll tell you why. It's quite, take it as you will, but some commentators, when the game isn't there, some weird stuff begins to come out their mouths. I think in the States you can get away with it.
now, hey, Macy's got a point.
I think it's because
No, I'm listening.
it's so huge in the States and it's so commonplace. To get America to notice what England are doing is exceptionally hard. So we put these quality controls in on our events, which it annoys some people. I don't care. So I found that some commentators go off into their own little world, and they bring their own personal lives into what we're doing. And like, number one, it's not relevant. It's not cool sometimes. It's not appropriate. So I learned to commentate. Now I'm a practical guy. I'm listening to Bruce, and I can hear you're very intelligent in the way you explain things, Bruce. Very. I can hear that.
Thank you.
You know what I mean? Like the words you use, the way you structure your sentences. I can see straight away. I don't structure my sentences like you do. So I'm a very practical person, and I know that there are a lot of practical people that play these games. They're not scientific, they're not aliens, are they? They're just normal people. So the style I brought to the table was a very layman's, simple. And again, looking at a person that might have tuned into this thing for the first time, they might have somehow selected our stream out of all the streams in the whole entire universe to watch a fighting game. This might be their very first time. So let's be honest, the terms in the FGC are not people can't relate to them, because what on earth is an option select outside of a fighting game? What is a nerf? They're not normal commonplace words. So I find
Like whiff. Now whiff
in the UK.
That's a smell or something.
it's train. It's like, yeah, whiff and punch, and somebody heard you. It's like whiff. Now whiff is derogative of fart, isn't it?
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? It's like the terms are really alien if you're not in it.
So I find even the top commentators in the world that are supposed to be easing these people into the Street Fighter world, they're heavily on. There's two people I'm picking. There's someone I'm picking in particular, but it doesn't matter. He is still heavily in terms. He's still in our speak. So but I find that, again, if I wind the clock back a bit, these terms are all American. And the Londoners about 10, 15 years ago, we had our own way of saying things. And we was actually quite, what's the word I'm looking for? Standoffish to use the American terms, because it's not our own. We didn't, we're just parroting what is there. But every single American term is a singular word, and ours is more than one. So I would say an OCV is one-manned. right? You got one man or one woman, if you want to be silly about it. 2 words. OCV, 1 word. Oh, my hard punch missed. That's multiple words. Whiff. You know, my character's been improved, buffed. We found
my character's been weakened, nerfed.
we found that we'd stick to our London lingo, but we're using up 4 words when the Americans had 1. So eventually, we conformed. But there was a bunch of us that, and I will slip into it in commentary sometimes. I will say something stereotypically 90s London from the 90s London arcade scene, which nobody gets, you know. So it's very interesting. I think it's still, for people that are tuning into an FGC event, we're still talking a bit too much in terms.
But I think the thing is that it's so nowadays, like if you've never touched a fighting game now and you wanted to like get into like Street Fighter 4 or Guilty Gear or something, you're never going to be able to get into it, I don't think, if you've got no understanding of the games, because all the terminology or the amount of knowledge. I mean, you guys, ironically, you guys speak highly about Street Fighter across Tekken. I know when these podcasts go out, first thing people are going to say is like, why the hell are these guys talking about this game? It's like, and I really actually respect the fact. I mean, I think Street Fighter across Tekken is actually a lot better than people give it credit for. Much better. And I think sometimes it's actually more interesting to watch. It is a hell of a lot more interesting to watch sometimes than Street Fighter 4. I reckon it really is a great game. I think it's flawed in a few places. Every fighting game is flawed, but I think there's like a sort of gang mentality on the game where it's just like everyone started turning their nose up to it until it's not very good.
It's a hive mind mentality.
And
it's like,
if people weren't so... Go on.
I was going to say, it's basically a hive mind of like event hubs. If you go in event hubs and see anything cross-Tekken related, that is what people see and that's what people believe because they've seen someone say it and they don't want to kind of, you know, make their own mind up, or at least not even make their own mind up, try it without thinking, oh, this is Street Fighter 4.2 with Tekken characters. If you just play it as its own game and obviously forget about the whole, you know, marketing thing at the beginning with the DLC on the disc, which they've been doing for years on other games.
Exactly.
When you put all that behind it, like the game is good. I think it's one of Capcom's most balanced games.
And as well, if you look at the amount, 'cause I'm a creative person, I'm a graphic designer. Look at the amount of
cross-Tekken images you use.
Not even that. The new voice actors, the new sound effects, the new effects, the gems, the character design. Like they took the Tekken characters, and they're not those Tekken characters are not Tekken characters.
Nah.
They're new characters, and there's lots of them. The new music, the new stages, the new effects, the new everything. I feel so sorry for the creative development team of this game, which goes, the game's shit. Yeah. Sorry to say it, but I shouldn't say it like that. But it's like, no, all right. In my opinion, there's a few things what's ruined Street Fighter Cross Tekken. That's my opinion. I'm not going to go into that. That's how I feel. Yeah. If they weren't in the game, I reckon the game would have be more successful, in my opinion. But I still think the game is absolutely fantastic. Just randomly the other day, I started watching somebody playing with Ibuki, and the way the game plays, if you like an aggressive, fast off the pace, bullet out of a gun game where your reactions have to be very quick, Street Fighter Cross Tekken is the game for you. Where Street Fighter 4 is very paced, I find Street Fighter Cross Tekken is like a lunatic. It's like, it's fast, aggressive. It doesn't suit everyone. It's such a shame that Street Fighter Cross Tekken has got like a thumbs down.
Yeah.
Where, to be honest, it's actually really quite good, in my opinion, anyway. But back on top.
I'll say that my opinion of yours is almost the complete opposite. I think Cross Tekken is slow. I think Cross Tekken is slow compared to something like Blaze Blue or like an anime fighter or something like that. But if you're comparing it to Street Fighter, I think you're correct. But I think as like just a game in general, I don't know. But that's just anyway. I'm gonna leave one more comment on the topic of the challenge of new players coming in. Like, first of all, thanks for noticing the way that I structure my sentences. I appreciate that. To piggyback on what Jammerz said earlier about sharing the way that he learned through his own experience, like that's the only way we can do that to introduce new players. Like I have my own experiences with the game and the scene, and that's what I'm here to share. I'll only talk about what I know. Knowledge seekers and new players need to notice this and You know, because when I got started, my motivation was the driving factor for my pursuit of information. I was super motivated because cross-teching was super hyped to me. If I didn't have that, I wouldn't do it. You know, people do just kind of need to want it. Like, it's a steep hill when you're doing it, when you're trying to learn. You've got to realize that some of this stuff is going to be elusive. You're going to see that it's complex. You can't forget, people's problem most of the time is they don't know how to learn. And unfortunately, we can't easily teach everyone to how to do that. All we can do really is just be dedicated players and community members looking to take action. And we do try to give you guys something to appreciate. Because like, unlike any other challenge, the path has its own unique way about it. Like, the path to getting better and learning about fighting games is punishing and unforgiving. Maybe that's what makes it more rewarding. But I believe that the skills that drive success in this game come from the mind, your perceptions, and being willing to learn, you know, or actually having an understanding how to learn and how to extract the useful information from other players that you find from all the scattered data online. You have to realize that it's subjective. You have to realize that it can be broken. So.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I want to move the question slightly over to the twins, kind of going on the back of what Nhaztaljik was saying. Regards to, like, obviously you're doing the streams and stuff. If you wasn't trying to kind of draw in casual players or people that just like games in general, do you think like the FGC have to adopt a new personality to get across to people that only play FPS or only play Magic the Gathering or are just, you know, browsing, I don't know, Twitch for just some generic reason? Do you think from the, not just the commentator side, do you think the players, the tournament organizers, do you think they all have to kind of be more esports?
I know you touched on esports and one of your other ones, and I'm going to say this, right?
Sorry.
I fully embrace esports. The only reason why Unequaled Media have been able to do certain things is because we've been involved in an esport related event, and our biggest events are usually inside an esports environment. So I relish esports because when I do an esports related event, I get given a 50 grand stage to use. When I do a community based event, I'm using some crap. So my perspective in esports is probably very different to a lot of other people's. But let's be honest, I'm a very narrow games player. I'm generally not interested in a lot of things. So I need to look at that world as it is. Either I want to embrace, or I want to engage with it, or I don't. I don't see why they should change, why a League of Legends player should start saying whiff, buffed, can to get me involved. I don't think that's the way. So we've built it this way, and I think that open the door and have a look, right? And if you like what you see, come in. If it's not for you, shut the door and carry on. I think that's just generally how life is with a lot of things. It's a wonderful thing we've built. It's huge. If we think about what the FGC is from what it might have been, 15, 20 years ago, it's insane. And it's been built this way. There's nothing wrong with it. We shouldn't change. You should never change for anyone, should you? That's in real life as well. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, like, I think that FGC needs to embrace esports a little bit because that's where the cash is coming from. Where do you reckon this 500K has come from? You know, for the Pro Tour next year.
I wouldn't say that's esports money, but it's definitely an esports model.
Yeah.
Simple as that. Like, I was watching was it Meltdown doing Bracket Reset Thursday just gone, and they had some, I don't know what it was. It was on the screens. I think it was League or something.
Yeah, it was League of Legends.
And I was looking at, like, when we tried to do our broadcast, like, we've always known, a few years back, we're known as our streams are too flashy, which I used to take as a compliment. It's like someone was trying to be quite derogative when I was selling me. And it's all right, fair enough. I was looking at the camera shots, and I was looking at the production value of this League of Legends, and it really there wasn't much design. The camera, I was looking at the set, and the set had Like it was the most lavish set with like neon lights and LED lights and custom chairs and custom booths. I thought to myself, wow, there's me trying my best to try and make a broadcast look good through design or through an artistic point of view, when sometimes if you just had the money, if I could build a set like that and just put a camera on it, it'd look amazing. So what's so wrong with esports? That's what I think to myself. It's like
I think it's because a lot of people in the FGC think that esports will only accept the FGC if they change. Like, I do not care. Like, I'm cool. I don't care how someone presents himself on camera. Yeah, it looks a bit, you know, it looks more presentable when they've got a suit and tie. But to me, it won't stop me from watching. But that's because I don't care. I know a lot of other people might do. They might not.
To interrupt, the players enable esports, not the lights and cameras. The players, in my opinion, are the ones that are going to bring viewers to those lights and cameras.
Oh, agreed.
I mean because it's like the point that Mace made earlier. If there's a player on Twitch that might not necessarily have all the production quality of somebody that has more money and more know-how, and they still get those views because of the quality of their gameplay, I mean that just exposes the truth right there. So I think, that's something to be mindful of. Always about the players. I don't want to get like TOs and esports organizers all caught up in the idea that, hey, we can make this happen. Yeah, putting things on camera is trivial, and building a stream, building a broadcast, all that is trivial. But generating competition and ensuring that players are not, just on YouTube borrowing tech, stealing tech, following the cookie cutter way to play a player, and then they wind up looking stupid on camera. That's something that I'm worried about. I mean, but there's no shortage of players that are awesome. But then, like May said again, I'm going to borrow one of his points again, that 1 out of 10 matches in a tournament could be fun to watch. And I'll leave it at that.
Very good point. I think that the problem is, I don't think FGC hates esports or got a problem with esports. It's just there's an element of esports, and no one can pinpoint what it is. And that's why I come out with this. There's nothing wrong with esports. But when I say there's nothing wrong with esports, I get the backlash is that there's an element in there which they're not embracing and don't want to embrace. I don't identify with it. I just see is that it's lucrative, it's useful if we want to grow, because especially in the UK, we're not doing well, are we? We're not growing. There's not the funds. Nobody invests. Nobody cares. The only way we can get bigger in the UK is an esport related influx. So, someone from my point of view is that I relish the idea of it, but there is something, as I said before, there's something in the esports word that someone doesn't like, I'm sorry, the FGC and masses don't like, and I don't know which letter it is. So I can't identify with that, and that's my problem.
I find
that's that's strange. I mean, I know the US scene, there's just majors left and right almost every month. I mean, there's somewhere to go. There's somebody putting lights and cameras on stuff, and it's definitely synonymous with esports. I mean, people are calling it that over here. The Capcom Cup, obviously, this year, that's international. But I don't know. I can't relate to that perspective. That's interesting to know that you guys feel that way. Like it's not growing over there.
No, it's hard. It's hard for belief. It's like a lot of people don't bother because there's no return in it.
You put a backdrop behind the camera and get the commentators to dress smartly, and everyone starts going, "Ooh, this is esports," and it's like, hold on. This isn't esports. This is the same. We're just trying to make it look a little. Is there anything we're trying to make it look a certain way? Like you might not like the look of that. Don't get twisted. Not everybody's shit. Like in the world, it's human nature. Everyone's got a different opinion. So anything I say, for anything in this podcast, probably our own personal opinions. Like me, I don't even call it. When someone tries it with me and says, "Oh, this is very esports," I said, "No, this is cool sports." It's like, look at that. The backgrounds are cool. Like we do Eurogamer, like Jammerz and Eurogamer like last year. They gave us that 200-inch LED screen, the trussing, the light rig, the sound rig, the setups. It's like, what is E about this? This is cool. This is cooler than most events around the country. And I'm in that. And every time we do it, our production partners will go, right. I mean, our project manager looked at the stage last year ago and goes, this is rubbish. This is too small. This is rubbish. This is shit.
Right.
I'm like, Henry, Henry, this is amazing. No, next year will be bigger. So I don't really understand. But the moment we're seeing it, we've got broadcast cameras on commentators just to get the best viewing eye for the stream. When we put backgrounds behind commentary and we've got professional headsets, someone says this is very esports. It's like, no, this is Street Fighter and presented really cool and really professional. And if you want to call it esports, your ignorance is blinding you to what the greatness of what this could be. So I think that esports thing though is a bit of a myth of the past. It's a lot of the old school players that we used to play in dirty arcades and play in each other's bedrooms. So when you were suddenly you're sitting with professional headsets and got backdrops behind you and green screen, it's like being probably of a certain intellect, certain age, you might think it's like, what the hell is this? But I think for the newer players that are coming into it, they absolutely love it and they relish it. So that's my opinion on the situation.
I had no idea there were such negative connotations surrounding esports. Like in terms of like referring to the FGC. I mean, I'm like, when I think esports, I'm like, man, MLG and I'm thinking like GSL Korea. I'm watching like StarCraft at 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, I'm like esports, super hype, but these negative connotations surrounding esports and the FGC. Just weird.
I'm gonna try and I think I can, because I felt like this at one point. The hatred, because it is a real hatred, because it's blind as well. Like, there's no reason for the FGC to not like esports. But I think the reason is because it kind of feels like the FGC has given up its grassroots. So like the FGC started in someone's garage or someone's front room with a couple of stinky people with like just busting jokes, just friends. And then it kind of turned to like hearsay, like, oh, this guy bodied this person, blah 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 blah. And it's kind of losing its like authenticity if it goes to esports. I feel that's what the FGC is scared of. If it goes to esports, quote unquote, like the League of Legends, where you've got soundproof booths and you've got managers like we talked about on the other one, it kind of loses its feel. But I see it now that I've kind of opened my eyes. It's basically like, if you go and watch tennis, it doesn't matter if they're playing on AstroTurf or grass. They're still playing tennis. So regardless of what's going on in the background, two people are still playing a fighting game. So it's still the FGC, whether you like it or not. If they're wearing suits or they're wearing tracksuit bottoms, it doesn't matter. It doesn't make a difference. Like, from my point of view, and I think the FGC should kind of
embrace that.
Yeah, just accept it. Like, you can have the FGC where people are moaning about people plot splitting because the FGC's poor. There's no money. There's not much money to be made off the FGC, if any at all. So you either embrace that some people are willing to back us, whether it be you porn or like, I don't know, whatever. Take it. Like, maybe not you porn, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'd rather expose competition and promote that to benefit others than just hide it, and keep it a secret, keep my beefs a secret and all these things. I mean, yeah, people are always interested in people's off-camera personalities, but still.
I think that's quite important. That was my second point. I think for other people to relate, there needs to be drama, and a lot of the time the drama's only known by FGC people. It's only known by people that follow Justin Wong on Twitter, that you know about the drama between him and like whoever, Wolfcrane or whatever. And it's kind of stupid, but it needs to be like a drama. It needs to be like a soap. It needs to be like WWE, where you can see that this person actually wants to beat this person, other than just to qualify through pools. Not every match has to be like that, but you have to have a competition. You need to have someone who can challenge the best, or you need to know that the person who just won was an underdog. You kind of need that element to an event for someone who's not particularly like into fighting games to see that. Like, I've got a personal friend who likes to watch Marvel because of the pretty lights or whatever, and he knows about Justin Wong and stuff, and he only knows him from Marvel. And I'm like, he does a lot more than Marvel, dude. Like, and he's like, oh, I know Justin Wong because everyone wants to beat him, and he knows Chris G because everyone wanted to beat Chris G. and I don't think that comes across enough in events or on stream to casual people, and it's kind of hard because you can't really force the drama because it ain't like a soap. You can't say like, oh, this person really hates like so and so, but I don't know. There needs to be some sort of middle ground where there's something other than the game being portrayed across the stream. I don't know what you guys think about that. I personally think that's like a really big thing to get people interested in the FGC, not just for the game.
I think people do that in some ways now and currently. I mean, just the archiving, just the fact that, you know, there is some history, people, new players, if the player isn't known, people that are watching tend to know that because commentators will say, you know, usually say it, and, you know, there is some perspective built, but I can agree with you that it's not always so transparent, and you don't always get to see you don't always get all the information. I agree with that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not sure if they do it with other sports where they have like I know they've kind of tried it. I can't remember which tournament it was. It was one that Gutex was commentating for, and it would basically give like a little backstory into the player or why the grudge match was happening. I don't know if that's the sort of thing that could help like other people from not even like outside the FGC, just from other games. Like I would watch a match of Smash. I don't really watch Smash, but I watched it when it was Mewtwo King because I've heard a lot of stuff about Mewtwo King. So I thought, oh, let's see what this guy's about. So I think that would help not only the community, it will help players get noticed. That's a big point as well, because I know everyone's kind of all about getting sponsored and getting a name behind you. That's everyone's goal for some reason. Like it used to be battle points, and now it's having a couple of letters before your name, and then you think you've made it.
Well, it's, I don't know, that's part of it, but obviously, you know, relating to our topic, obviously Twitch is one platform that you can use. YouTube is another. Any program or something that you can use to give yourself kind of a, you know, an internet personality or platform that can bring a lot of people to it and kind of bring everyone into the topic. But obviously there needs to be someone to kind of dumb it down and break it down into parts and explain it to them, which is, you know, what obviously we'll use Unequal Media as an example, because what these guys do is not easy. So,
no, definitely.
And obviously, you know, most of the players they've got on the team now, they are hardcore players. Whereas me, it's like, you know, I'm split between the two. It's like I can kind of commentate and kind of play the game, but I can kind of put it in a perspective that, or I try to put it in a perspective that a lot of people, including the casual audience, can understand. Because with fighting games nowadays, it's, you know, any fighting game developer, when they make a game, they've already captivated the hardcore audience. They're trying to appeal more to a casual audience now. And with the whole, you know, where the streams will take us, where YouTube will take us, if there's no one there to kind of ease the in and explain it to them bit by bit and kind of make it entertaining for them, then we are going to have an issue, that's what I'm trying to do with my commentary. So
Twins, what do you think about that as a means to get to the casual gamers?
Okay, the thing is that I think the casual gamer, it's one of them things, isn't it? You could tell someone to eat this chocolate bar. So it's a nice chocolate bar in the world. If he doesn't really want to eat it, he doesn't want to eat it. So I think that I do think it's about perception of how you're introduced to it all the time. And again, like watching all these, it's very horses for courses for what somebody likes, someone dislikes. So it's a very hard thing to sometimes introduce the new player. I mean, I think the barrier of fighting games is so high to actually be successful. Like we do things like Eurogamer or there's other shows. We've actually ventured for a couple of years. The brief was fighting games plus racing games, football games, and it's really outside of our comfort zone. And then when you put a game like Sonic, Racers, or Mario Kart, or a platform game,
yeah,
a football game and a fighting game, and you give the product to average Joe, the fighting game gets the least success because the barrier of execution is the highest. A shooting game is pretty simple, isn't it? You run around and you shoot. A racing game is quite simple. You run around and
it's like common knowledge on what you have to do. Sort of
But
thing,
if you don't understand about the 2D plane of a fighting game, where you've got to walk back, or a 3D one, you've got to walk back and forth, and you've got to block high attacks high, or jumping attacks high and low attacks low. And if you block too much, you're susceptible to being thrown. And then it's all about controlling a vertical space and a horizontal space. And you just kind of, if you can just give them the joypad and you can see, or give them the control panel, sorry, the controller, and you'll see people kind of just spazzing out in a sense. I shouldn't say that word, but you see them sort of mashing the stick.
yeah, rubbing
I
out.
might win. It's like, I thought to myself, do you actually know what you're doing? Like, do you actually know what your objective is? I know you've got to bring his energy bar to the middle before he brings yours to the middle and get a KO. Right? I know that, but it's like, do you actually enjoy it, or do you actually understand it? Well, from a hardcore point, or a more experienced gamer's point of view, it's like, wow, if that was me, I'd have no fun in this. So I think introducing like newer players to fighting games is a really weird quandary of a situation, because a lot of people love them, but a lot of people just say, "Oh, look, it's another Street Fighter game. It's another fighting game." Like, people don't even know the difference between King of Fighter. In fact, we did Virtua Fighter at one Eurogamer, and it's got a guy in a karate suit with a headband. People think it's Ryu. It's not. It's Akira. And it's like, then when you see them trying to play it, they're trying to do Street Fighter moves, and it's not really happening. So I think getting a new player into it, I think the new player just wants to be in it. They've seen something they like about it. They like the competitiveness, or they like the look of the game. They like something about the game which drags them in, that you're never going to be the attraction. It's got to be something that the beholder wants to see. And everything in life, some people see it and some people don't.
So you think it's like the imitation thing? So like, if every stream started with like the Daigo parry on Justin Wong, everyone going like, "Oh, I want to do that. I want to play Third Strike."
No. So you imagine some people probably don't even understand what the hell that was.
No, that's what I mean. They don't understand what's going on, but they see it. It's sort of like, I've been to a couple of tournaments with like really new people. I'm not gonna call them news, but they're new to the game. And the first thing they ask me is like, "Oh, how'd you do the Ultra?" And I'm like, "That's the last thing you want to learn that to do." Like, that's literally the last thing you shouldn't be asking that question. It's on the command list, but there is more important things you need to know about the game than how to do an Ultra or to how to throw an EX fireball. And I think it is like what you said, it's the visual aspect of the game which draws people, and they just want to imitate it. They want to copy it. They want to do what they've just seen. And they don't understand how hard it is, or how much skill or dedication it takes to learn to do that. And then as soon as they find out how hard it is to do,
they'll back off.
Yeah, they're done. They'll be like, you know what? It's not worth it.
And that's why, where SF4 has probably, because of its namesake anyway, and it was destined to be huge, being off the Street Fighter franchise, they got it on the money where you can go a bit nuts with all the buttons. All of a sudden, it zooms up to your character and they get this massive ability, and you throw it at them or you hit them with it. The satisfaction to the novice or the non-fighter game person is fantastic, where some of the other games have kind of missed that concept a slight bit. You don't get that satisfaction with Tekken. You don't get that satisfaction with Blaze Blue, King of Fighters.
Tekken, sort of.
Tekken, yeah. Did I say Tekken?
You said Tekken.
It's all right. Tekken a little bit. No, Tekken gets it, but like VF, for example, VF is so normalized in its appearance, they're not going to get excited.
Yeah.
SF4, that's where Capcom have got that little formula.
For ages, I've been trying to figure out what makes Capcom so popular to other things, and it's going to sound like really far-fetched, but you know when you do ultras in Street Fighter 4?
Yeah.
The whole fact that the screen focuses on your character, I feel like low-level players like that.
That's
feeling.
what they like. Yeah.
It's the spotlight.
Yeah, it's a spotlight thing. Same with Marvel. A lot of people like Marvel, watch it, and it's because when you do something, the screen focuses on you. Like, you've done this. It's like a satisfaction, like certificate. Just like, bang, you did this. Congratulations. And that's what a lot of lower-level people need. They need that kind of pat on the back, and I feel like that's what does it for them. That's why they ask, "How do you do an ultra?"
Yeah,
I want the camera to see me.
You need to make it feel so that, like, they feel like they're in total control of the game and the match. It's another thing I learned in uni when designing games. It's like you got to make the player feel that they are better than the game, and when they once they've done that, then they'll take into consideration whether or not they should figure out, can I do that more consistently, or is this going to bring in more of my casual friends to kind of join in and see what all the professionals are about, sort of thing. So But it brings us back to the point what Mark and Richard said. It's like you can't really. It has to be the game that captivates them. Like the people around it, we can't do that. We can show you to the front door, but we can't let you in.
Do you think it can help if we were more, I don't want to say approachable. I'm gonna say less ghetto. If the majority of like the FGC were less ghetto, you know how obviously there's trolls and like
loud people like me.
Yeah, loud people, or even people that sit down with people and you'll like, I'll do it, but I'll like play someone. If I'm beating them, I won't say nothing.
You know what though? On that subject, let's be honest now. It's only in the big cities, worldwide, the biggest cities in the world, where the ghetto-ness exists.
Yeah.
Think about, there's probably a player right at the top of the country, the furthest point of the UK. He ain't going to be ghetto. He's going to be a nice, polite, law-abiding citizen.
I think you missed what he meant about ghetto. I think what he means is that with... it's a really weird one.
Yeah, I can't find the word to describe the FGC, but
it's I hate to say this, mildly xenophobic.
Yes, I think that might be the word.
Not maliciously,
no.
But it's like a new person comes along spamming fireballs around a load of professional players, and all of them are just like, most of them probably think, "Scrub, go away."
Yeah, mate, what was I saying on the last podcast? Ostracized. They're getting like pushed away because they're not doing everything that everyone sees.
Yeah, they're not pro. They're not starting at a pro level.
But they forget that's how they started.
Yeah.
A lot of people do. A lot of people forget.
They do. They
well,
really
I think
do.
we've all done it. Like you might have lost. You might have lost to somebody, or you might be finding difficulty with like a unorthodox beginner player that can almost beat you, and you're like, I've got inside an intelligent game plan here of footsies and mind games, and you're coming along with Ken and doing one button and beating me.
Jump round hash.
You've all felt it, and it's just like I got to the point where you can't really hate the player.
No.
You've got to hate the game because the game is and that's where the thing Street Fighter 4 kind of triumphs again is that it gave the difference between a novice player and like a professional player in Third Strike is a galaxy apart.
Yeah, it's not even doable. You don't have to be scrub proof in Third Strike. You're just better. That's it.
But in Street Fighter 4, it's only a street away, and I think it's that's better for the beginning player because you go against someone in Street Fighter, you go to professional. Even like the other day at Heart of Gaming, I went to play they had their gutter trash, and I happened to play against I think it was Harmonaz or somebody, and I couldn't do a thing. I really could. I wasn't just let go of the stick, and it's like, God damn! It's like I couldn't even touch him, and I know how to play fighting games, and that's I don't know if it's good. That's good and bad on both sides.
Yeah,
it's like
it's good for the FGC, but it's not for the casuals. And I think Street Fighter 4 done the reverse.
Yeah,
where Street Fighter Good was good for the community, but for like the people that really love the FGC, they kind of just. I think eventually they just conformed. They just fell into it. Because I remember when it first came out, there was loads of Third Strike people saying, "I'm not playing this crap." Blah 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 blah. A few of them stuck to their guns, and then you never heard of them again. But some people just accepted their fate, started playing Street Fighter 4.
No, it's even Daigo said this game isn't very good. Even Daigo said it in the early days.
He probably still believes it, but he's making money off it, so he's going to keep playing it.
Well, this is it. It's like at some point, because me, the twins, and Ramsey said it in the car when we were driving home on Thursday. It's Street Fighter 4 was the thing that was sort of like shoved down people's throats. It's like it's not gonna go away, and it's the thing that kind of can put everyone on the same ground, if you want to put it something like that. And it's like everyone can obviously some people will progress further than others, but it's like there's something in the game for everybody.
There's still like a skill gap, I would say, but the difference between like a pro and then casual and then like scrubs and everything is a big tank of like a group of people. Then you've got like the pros, and there's just no real divide. All the lines are blurred between like levels of play, and like I said, it's good for the community because it brings in fresh blood. It brings in people that didn't think that they would be good at fighting games. They win a couple of matches on ranked, think they're good. They get beat, and then because they've got to that stage where they thought they were good, and they want to understand why they lost this time, it does that. Where I think if games like Third Strike and Turbo, when you get beat, you just think, what's the point?
You got beat.
Like you get beat so convincingly, you don't see anything that you can gain from the loss. Where Street Fighter 4, you sort of can.
Funny thing about Street Fighter 4 is that, okay, in Street Fighter, have you ever seen Daigo play Street Fighter 2?
Yes, I have.
Yeah.
He's quite a formidable beast with that brown Ryu and a black headband, or the boxer.
Yeah.
And not many people can beat him at all. Not many. Most people fail at that task. Even in Third Strike, the Street Fighter moment in history, the Daigo parry, right? Okay, you don't see Daigo losing to many people in Street Fighter 3 or Street Fighter 2. But how many people has Daigo lost to in Street Fighter 4? Like random, how many top players have lost to, like, not necessarily nobodies, but to someone which are unknown?
Shout out to Gandhi.
And it's like, does that make Street Fighter 4 a better game? Because then all of a sudden you've got loads of underdogs that could be victorious, or does it make it a not very good game because it kind of blurs the line between I am really good at this game and I can consistently do it? I say to anyone that can consistently win a Street Fighter 4 is a genius, because it's really hard to consistently keep doing it.
It's way too difficult.
Way too difficult. And I don't know if the game's just not good at its bare bone essence. I don't know. Or is it? It's that thing where you never can quite tell who's going to win.
Yeah.
Anymore.
The hype factor's still there. That's what it is. I think that was intentional. I think they've intentionally put that into Street Fighter 4 to make it that no one is. You can't count someone out. When Third Strike and all the other games, you know when someone's about to die.
Oh,
in Marvel and Street Fighter 4, you can never tell.
Yeah.
You can't tell.
This is the thing. If we can, if there's a way that, we can do this through Twitch, through YouTube, through FGC outlets, if we can kind of bring more people into this sort of circle that we're in, then it can be a better place. But like Richard said before, I don't see what the FGC finds with the what's wrong with the word esports. So,
but that isn't almost out of date philosophy though, because I'm around those people that they're not adjusting to that concept. So Bruce isn't here anymore, is he?
No,
He chipped off.
He is the complete opposite, where it's all bubble gum, and it's all good, and it is the foundation of what he believes in, and where we come from, the old schoolers. I just look at them. We may have been that way a little while ago, but we have adjusted because of our position in the community. But I just look at my older friends, my age, and it's like, dude, come on, like, get with it. We're not coin operated, anymore. We're not this, we're not that. It's interesting. So, I think the embrace is there, but I think those that embrace it don't even talk about it. It's those that don't embrace it, you hear about. So maybe I've got it misconstrued in myself.
I was about to say, do you find the sort of like the corn side of things entertaining when you watch like events or streams, or even if you go to an event? Do you personally like them people that are kind of against the FGC because of the way they act? Do they entertain you? Because that's where I am. Like, I want people to fix up and be presentable, but I also like it when people are talking rubbish and acting a fool.
So you basically created the inevitable. You can't win.
No, I can't.
Scenario there.
Whatever happens to the FGC, I'm happy.
You can't, right. Oh, that's not way.
It's always winning then.
Oh yeah, it's always winning. Whatever it does, it's always winning. So we could say, I always brought down this way that you can never. Everybody thinks their own way. Like, even me and Richard, like being twins, people knows for a fact we bicker like cat and dog because we think different. So because everybody thinks different, I think what happens is you end up being in cliques of like-mindedness.
Yeah.
But you don't always find it. So it's always a debate, or it's always an argument, or it's an aggressive conversation, or it's a very political conversation about what it is. Deep down, I think there's one thing though that we all kind of share, is that we like fighting games. That's where it came from. Where it goes from that point is up to you. It's up to your intellect. I think that the whole glitz and glamour of it being more like boxing or WWE is fantastic. Problem is though, like a lot of times, the gamer, a talented gamer sometimes might only be triumphant in the game, not maybe triumphant in life. Like we're all very big, confident characters in person. I could turn the console off tomorrow and go about my business and be someone else. I'm going to try to say this in a very diplomatic way. Some people are gods at the game, gods when the console is on, gods behind a screen. But when you then kind of want to you find interest in the way they play the game, but if you actually then try to sort of look into the person,
They're not.
they could be quite shy, camera shy, inner, introvert. And you find sometimes that it might, I hate to say, I'm not going to say it that way. You find that they're not suitable to be actually like put a camera on them, for instance, because they're just not that sort of person. Like, not everyone's a face for radio.
I'll say it. He's talking about waste, man. He's talking about waste,
man. I'm saying that
entirely.
I'm saying things like I know some guys that are very sort of socially inept, very awkward, don't really go out much. They spend a lot of time in their room by themselves playing games online. If you then take him out and stick him in front of a camera, he'll go to bits. Or people looking at him. They don't have that worldly confidence that they carry in their gameplay. And there's a lot of people like that, and a lot of people opposite to that. So my sort of view of this whole fighting game thing is that, unfortunately, I like the person that you could put in front of the camera and you might get something really interesting from them. Yes. Not everybody likes that. I love it. So again, I think the only thing which is the common denominator is we like or love or like fighting games. Where it goes from there, it's totally up to you. Deep. Why did you just finish the podcast? Thanks, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see you next week.
I think it's something to everyone. Food for thought.
Mark the Dragon ruining conversations again. Would walk away from me.
Food for thought, and bang, that's it. Drop the mic.
Sorry, apologies.
Ben, game over.
You end it, but I think that is pretty much the best way to end it. To be fair, we'll probably end up doing a follow-up one later. There was definitely some points. I think the esports FGC one might have to come up again with obviously like the twins on it, because they can see it from a different perspective.
They've got a bigger perspective or different one than us, because remember, I'm a different generation to both of you guys, or all three of you.
Right.
So I think you've seen the evolution, so you've got a better idea of why things are happening or how it might happen, where we can just be like, oh yeah, people aren't wearing a tie on commentary, so we're done for.
So I'm glad you got back onto this, because I didn't get a chance to say it earlier. Look at the career of will.i.am. Now, if you call it right back to what Black Eyed Peas were originally, Joints and Jams, if you're aware of that record, then the what's the company frog lady called?
Stop it, Macy Gray.
Macy Gray. Then enlisting Macy Gray, who was then switched in permanently for Fergie, who should have been Justin Timberlake. You know what I mean? Like, if you see their right now, he's a guy on The Voice.
Yeah.
Did he sell out? Yeah. Did it? Oh gosh.
I thought he was gonna say no, but
yeah. Did he sell out? Yes, he did. Did he want to make money? Did he want to progress? Say, I loved what they did. This is so off the base. Joyce and Jams are my favorite records. Period. Some of the later Black Eyed Peas stuff, all right, I wouldn't even use that for certain. It's difficult. Do we move with what works, or do we stay to what we're true to? It all depends where you want to be. That's the main difference between a tournament organizer, a company, a guy that does it for fun. I don't know. Everyone's different in the FGC, so everyone's views are different. So I hold a very strong regard for the esports side of the business, because it will probably...
That's where the money's at.
That's what will make Unequaled Media be bigger, to give back to the community. So, yeah, anything esports, we will take the esports, and then we will digest it, and then we'll then give it to you guys in a way you guys prefer it. So we're we stand in the way. We're like a protection.
You're like a eagle, innit? Because you take in the esports, you regurgitate it, we eat it.
Yeah, and how you want it, how you want it. Maybe that's how Unequaled Media stand. We're very much in the middle between of that. and that's why I can accept it, learn from it, and absorb it, and it's cool for me. But some people aren't capable of that. They're just standing in the hog next to a first right player when the big gutter trash event was on, and he turned around because we were setting up something for them. He goes, "What is this esports?" I'm like, "Damn, you went there."
Wow.
He went.
But how did you react though? That's the big thing. How did you react when he said that?
I'm like, "Yeah, baby, 100% esports." Walked off because he doesn't understand that it's useful in elements of it are very useful for us. So, that'd be an interesting one, definitely. If we can be a part of that conversation, I'd love.
Yeah, no,
so,
definitely. Definitely, I'll definitely get used one. I don't know who else, unless you've got anyone in mind that you want to bring onto that one.
It's quite a handful of people that'd be actually interesting for that one. So we could talk about that, later on.
Yeah, no, definitely. So yeah, hopefully, it sounds like we've got the twins back on a later podcast. Obviously, Jammerz when I need to fill up a slot.
The standard.
I'm substitute for everyone now, aren't I?
I will summon Jammerz like a Pokemon, call him into action.
Damn.
But yeah, what I'll do is I'll get all the information from you guys later. I'll put it in the descriptions. But yeah, if you guys want to sign off, do you want to go first, Jammerz? Where can people catch you? Don't know why anyone would, but yeah. Tell them anyway.
The usual criminal activity places, Twitter and YouTube, really. So yeah.
And the twins, how can people find out about Unequaled, and where can they find out about your deep thoughts about the spice girls and stuff? I'll definitely follow you for that.
Oh, so yes, the spice girl. Let that sit in your head. Let that resonate in your head.
That's never going away.
That's one of the funniest TV thing you've ever heard in your life, but it kind of makes sense. Now, this is basically Richard reeling it off like he finished the broadcast. Over to Richard. So, ladies and gentlemen, that was another, what's the show called? Situational Damage. Is that right?
There we go. Yep, that's the one.
Make sure you follow and subscribe to this good stuff. No, basically, everyone knows. I say it every week at Bracket Reset. Make sure you follow, like, subscribe. We're Unequaled Media. That's got 2 L's in it. And if you don't want to type it into Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn, just put it into Google search and they're all there. So the likes, the follows are most appreciated. So do that. And we're coming to a town near you.
For the donations, Rich.
Oh, I'm not doing my own streams.
and as well, right? Thanks, Jammerz, for the shameless plug. And also, we put a lot of effort into what we do at Unequaled Media, and every so often we would just appreciate a little bit of a donation from you, the loving public. That is all. So if you hit up our website unequalmedia.com, there's a massive chunly donation button. Feel free to put any denomination of zeros in there you feel, and it'd be most appreciated. Thank you.
You will be giving me the link for that later, and I'll put it in the description. People need to, put their hands in their pockets.
Most appreciated.
If you want the scene to grow, you've got to do it.
This is it.
It's either that, or you can just donate to the pot, go to a tournament, get bust up, and then be sad about it.
Give it to Ryan and Problem. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
I'd rather give it to you guys, to be fair. I'd rather line your pockets than Ryan. Not like he's a bad guy, but he gets money from everyone else. So, yeah. But thanks to you guys. I'll get Nhaztaljik's details and put them in the description later as well. But he spells it really weird, Nhaztaljik. So, yeah, you're going to have to look in the description if you want to find him on Twitch. But, yeah, at the moment, he's helping PXG, Panorix Gaming's, with their, I think it's bi-weekly or weekly Cross Tekken.
I think it's weekly.
Is it weekly? Yeah, the weekly Cross Tekken, because they're doing that and Street Fighter 4. He's helping with the Cross Tekken side, so shout out to him for jumping on as well. That is pretty much it. That's a pretty long podcast, guys. Again, yeah. But, there's nothing better than sitting in training room and having situational damage on in the background.
Best thing ever.
It is. I've never done it because I hate the sound of my own voice, but I'm sure it's really good. Have you?
Yeah,
I can't respect you.
What do you mean? It's sick.
Yeah, but I suppose you've got that Midas touch voice, where even you like your own voice.
I actually don't, but I just do it for the topics.
I got to say, I think everybody around here probably hates the sound of their own voice. But Mace, your voice is pretty cool. Jammerz, your voice is pretty cool. Richard, your voice is pretty cool. And I really hate mine. I hear it every week.
No,
That's
you're
what
doing a Capcom. You're trying to give us a pat on the back, like, yeah, you're doing well. Well done.
No. I'm not being patronising. You guys got cool voices. You definitely got voices for radio. For me, all I do is hear me saying Richard the Dragon And Jammerz, make your way to set up number 4, please. All I ever say. Like hearing, I'm like, oh god, here we go again. But anyway,
It's supportive though. You get the point across. But yeah, if they want to hear your voice, when's your next event so people can come and hear your voice in person?
every Thursday at the one and only Meltdown, Caledonian Road, King's Cross.
Boom. Go there and give Problem X your money.
Some 7 p.m.
It's actually not Problem X now.
It's not.
Oh, no.
It's BTM Hurricane
Oh, yeah,
or
sorry.
BTM Isam.
Isam.
So
Go
that's
there
that.
to donate.
7 p.m. Sorry, yeah, guys that want to come to that, get out some Meltdown for about 7 p.m. Stream starts at 8 p.m. Those that want to watch, that's GMT.
Yes.
Tournament registration opens at 7, closes at 7:45. We try to formulate brackets just after 8 o'clock. Try to get a tournament running around 10 past 8, quarter past 8, and it finishes approximately about 11 o'clock. From this week onwards, we're actually going to do grand finals, only the first to 2, best of 3, because we're getting like 40 people showing up, and and it's just becoming a nightmare. The numbers, I'm so happy with the amount of numbers. We're trying to do a double limb tournament in that period of time.
That's rough.
It's and like some grand finals being best of 5 they've stretched out for like 40 minutes. And so from now on, unfortunately, grand finals will be best of 3, unless the tournament goes down to 20 people. If it's 20 people or so, it'll be best of 5. If it goes above that, it has to be best of 3. Otherwise, we're getting people stranded in King's Cross, and that's not how I do.
Yeah.
Man, it's turned to a taxi rank. Giving people lifts home. But yeah, thanks again to the twins, Mark and Rich, Unequaled Media, and UMMOP Jammerz, no more HD. Standard definition Jammerz.
What? No more hard door, Brett. No more hard door. Nothing.
Oh, no, go stop it, Yeah. Shouts to Nhaztaljik again, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace.
Peace. Right.